Hello guys, welcome back to another replay analysis. We've got a Champ 1 1v1 for you guys today. This player called Excel, he says he's got on GC 1, 4, and 2s. Recently he's been playing a lot more 1s to try and improve in the game in general. He's just gone to Champ 1 Div 3 but feels stuck in 1v1s now that I got here. Pretty common thing to be a few ranks higher in 2s and 1s, so that's completely fine and getting stuck at points. He says for defense, he feels like he has decent overall mechanics and that his shooting carries him a lot through a lot of games. He watched the whole series and YouTube and have literally learned so much, but I feel like I still struggle to identify car language when something is particularly threatening. That's completely true, and we're going to point out some of those things in this game, in how to this player does struggle with that, and we'll point that out. Talk about it. He says he feels like he struggles to close space down when playing shallow defense, stuck going back into net rather than challenging and getting something out of it. And overall playing defense in the corner when they're facing towards the ball and I'm facing away. I never know when to challenge and how to make that challenge good for me. So this guy's pretty much hit all the points that he struggles with because he is correct on those. Let's get into this one. He says really quickly, oh yeah, we've got this game on high speed, I just realized, sorry. He says he finds tough spots to bounce dribble in, or he kind of struggles with that, and how to direct the ball without getting instant challenge when I do so. Kickoffs is also a big struggle for me in 1v1s for offense and defense. I never can get control of the ball after kickoffs. His shooting is the thing he feels like carries him through 1v1 games. I want to know how to find more good opportunities to get space and go for more mechanical plays that I can consistently do when I have time. So a lot of info there. A lot of info. Let's get into this one. This is a really nice touch straight off the bat. Understanding that this is the angle that we push the ball into space and we can capitalize on that, and we do it to get a goal off this. His kickoffs this game are pretty poor overall. This first kickoff was actually pretty good, but the rest, or a few of them at least, are slightly not the best. And I think the main thing is that we're not fully speed flipping correctly. And this one wasn't too bad. We'll get onto it a little bit more later. But you see the landing is slightly too much. It's not turned too much, basically. His car isn't turned the whole way when he's landing. It's still slightly like that, okay? And that makes the landing sometimes a little bit awkward, makes it a little bit slower, less smooth to go to the ball, which makes our contact with the ball a little bit harder. So that's going to be, I think, the main theme. We'll talk about it and look at it a little bit more as we go on to this replay with the rest of the kickoffs. But for now, that's the main thing so far. Okay, this is a tough position to defend. In positions like this, if you seem to struggle a lot with defending when you're about to, or when you've just gone for your corner boost, you just have to. This isn't really a tip. It's going to be something you guys know or should naturally do. You just have to change it up. So if you always shadow from this position, if you're always just kind of waiting for them to come to you, you just have to throw in a full challenge, okay? Because if you give them too much space every time, they're gonna catch you out, and you have to jump for flicks like that because you're worried if they actually get the flick, you're just reacting, and plays like this can happen. So this is just a one-off, and we're not going to look into it too much. But if this happens over and over again, because players do tend to have one thing they go to do when, especially when getting the corner boost in their defensive corner, they'll instantly challenge every time, or they'll usually shadow every time. Not many players, especially at lower rank, mix those two together, and that's what we're going to be looking out for to have it correct, okay, to do it correct. Okay, so again, the speed flip is massively causing us issues on this kickoff. That's where most of your kickoff kind of struggles are going to be coming from. You're not speed flipping the whole way, okay? You're speed flipped, but you're not boosting the whole way, so you may as well have not speed flipped, basically, kind of thing, right? You have to be using your boost throughout this whole speed flip, else we're not getting as much out of it as we can. That makes us slow towards the ball, and that makes them be able to dictate where the ball's going. If your opponent got 2 touches through that 50, it's actually just going to be straight into our net, basically, because a kickoff like this, if they get another touch where the ball just doesn't go past them, they get another touch, it'll go always into this wall and bounce mid for them to score. That's how this kickoff would usually pan out. We got very lucky there that ball didn't hit their car the second time. So yeah, speed flips, we're going to have to put a lot of time into practicing here. All right. If we can get the ball on top of our car and flick, which is probably what you want to do, that's fine. We might have just slightly messed up our first touch. It's completely okay. You really want to, in positions like this, where you have a 50 and both players are behind the ball like this, and both players have fairly even amounts of momentum. They're both close to the ball, pretty much the same distance. You really want to think about trying to delay a 50 instead of just trying to 50 them at the same time as your opponent. You can catch players out a lot in this position if you just back off slightly and let them touch the ball, because they will, as long as you hide behind the ball, out of their sight, as long as you can't see your opponent clearly, their car clearly, they probably can't see you clearly either, okay? And if you can back off in that instance where they think you're about to 50 the ball with them, they will flip the ball into you, and you can usually get a better 50 or even just a touch over their head whilst they're mid-flip, okay? Getting a 50 like that, you've got to be really careful because it's very overcommittal from us. We're further away from our net than our opponent is to their net, kind of thing, okay? So you've got to be super careful with how you take 50s like that. I would tend to just fake challenge this position or delay a 50. Both those things usually lead into game possession in positions like this. So if you want to do that play, you have to be hidden behind the ball. I will say that. That's the main thing you want to do in those positions, but just don't fully barrel into those 50s. That's kind of, what you did here. You're not necessarily taking a 50, not necessarily forcing it. You'd want to do that on the other end, okay? In this position, you've got to be careful to do it, of course, because it's near our net and that can end really bad. But that's, what you would kind of do, or something along those lines in that other 50 kind of circumstance on the other side there. Good search, good play out of defense. You should just go for the corner boost probably here. This is fine to go for as well. I would just like a little bit more kind of extended thinking, in offense here. I think we're trying to look for a goal in the next 5 seconds, but in 1v1 and in Rocket League, but especially 1v1, you don't be thinking about that. It's just how can we get a goal in the next 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Of course, if there's less time in the game, you have to play that accordingly, but go for a corner boost in that position and play for a little bit more extended pressure, because now we've gone for the ball, we've gone for the play, and because we were on 50 boost, we can't get a good 50, and obviously because we're on low amount of boost, we can't recover since we don't have any left, okay? So yeah, definitely in that position, just go for a corner boost still and see what happens from there, and play for possession and play for a little bit of better angles on that. And I'm just going to go back to it real quickly because it is very important, even if it doesn't seem like it. In positions like this, it's very hard to attack at the net and have a good, actual, solid chance of shooting because the angles are just so hard. You really want to be going for the corner boost and trying to create space, create distance between yourself and your opponent as long as you have the possession, okay? So if you can get the corner boost and touch this ball back, try and control it back a little bit towards that midfield and then play for this space over here, trying to outplay the opponent there, that's going to give you way better angles to look at net rather than the ball being over here, okay? So really, in positions like this, I'll just say one more time because it's so important. You just want to be playing for possession most of the time. Of course, sometimes throw in going for an aerial play like that, it's okay, but your main thing should really be possession. This is just going to be a lack of awareness here. You just have to be aware that your opponent does have the boost advantage. It means they also have the speed advantage. If your opponent has the boost advantage, they can speed up quicker than you can, okay? So you just have to be aware of that and making sure if you do want to go for this ball, you're going for it quite quickly. And as soon as you see the potential that they have to turn and go for the ball, you're basically making your play now, okay? Not here, right? It's just slightly too late. You already know that, so we're not going to cover it too much. We're just going to lose 50 and probably concede in this position, I think. The theme of this is going to be you're conceding a lot of overcommits in offense and into just straight open nets, on the counter attack for your opponent, okay? That's going to be a massive theme throughout this game. As soon as we correct our speed flip and make it a little bit better, we win the kickoff, okay? We at least have a better chance to win these kickoffs. Again, we're just slightly it's such a small detail, but we're just not slightly turned enough. Again, really being pedantic and just kind of making sure we're pointing out, but just slight issue there. But we do win the kickoff from it. Okay. I really want to see more active offense on your end. if you're touching the ball down the wall like this, you either want to just instantly get on top of your car here, okay, or take a shot on the first bounce. All right, that's really what I want you to do here. I want you to actually make a play happen, okay? Because right now we're not actually firing anything at net. This is a couple times now we've done this. If we go back really quickly, the other kind of instance was when we go for a 50 on the guys, on the goal line. Can't remember where it was, but we go for a 50, trying to force it round some kind of thing. And it's the same mindset, or the same pretty much circumstances we're doing here. We're not being active, we're not making something happen, whether it being getting the ball on top of our car and instantly flicking, or trying to get a shot off. We're just being very nervous to shoot, almost nervous to attack at his net right now. Nice defense, this is good. He backs off to make sure he's not getting bumped, and to also just naturally cover the ball, but this is good. Just not jumping instantly, because you can just get bumped there and no one touches the ball, and then they can turn and score. So I like that. All right. Not going to overanalyze this because it is just mechanics. We're just going off target. We want to be getting a flip set kind of here if we want to be attacking and trying to shoot with this ball, and that's a play you can do. If you're a GC1-2s player, you can get a flip set there. It could be hard, and we can work on it, but you really want to be trying to get flip sets at the end, because you did a really good job of setting this shot up, but you just try and carry it too far. These touches are fantastic to actually set up a flip set. We then just carry on going. That as much as anyone. I don't mind the play at all. I don't mind going for it, as long as again we're making something happen. Really nice shot there. Really solid challenge. Just seeing the one time where the opponent can't touch the ball, they can go for it as long as they're on the wall here. They can go here, they can go here. We're not going to turn. As soon as they start going down, that's when we turn, because the opponent can no longer go for the ball. Nice stuff. Solid speed flip again. I presume we're going to win the kickoff, and we kind of do. Yeah, it's fine to go for mid boost here. Yeah, it's fine, because I think you might be getting beat for that back boost. There is if you speed up quicker, you probably can speed up now with the 18 boost you already have. Because this guy, no, I think you would get beat. Yeah, you would just get beat. Can't tell. This mid boost is fine. Sometimes it is important though, just to secure the corner, but in that position, I think it's fair to go for mid boost and try and get a 50 back, because like you just did here, touching this ball back or trying to play for this touch here to get possession is really good. Another nice shot here. Another nice shot. Your shooting, like you said, is very good. I'd like to see a little bit more in offense rather than the midfield right now. Again, just a slight. We just have to turn a little bit more, and we're gonna have a far cleaner landing on this. We just have to turn a little bit more. Every single speed flip, you're landing like this, okay? Your wheels are slightly wonky. Your car is slightly wonky. Really want to be landing a little bit more evenly along the ground. You're going to have a better contact. And of course, we just flipped out the way a little bit too much on this. We angled our car actually to the right of the ball and then flipped right, which is why we lose this kickoff pretty heavily. We turn slightly to the right, and then we flip to the right as well. So we're leaving the whole of the left ball open. All right. So you did say that you struggle in the corners, and you struggle to understand when certain things are kind of threatening or not. This is one of those circumstances because you rush this ball a lot, all right? You really want to understand that as long as you get underneath the ball, and I'm not saying, perfectly underneath, but just as long as you get to maybe, let's draw it. As long as you get to maybe, here, okay, this around this point, you're just naturally going to be closer to the ball, okay, which gives you more time to react than your opponent. All right. If you see your opponent jump, because you're closer, you will have the reaction time. You will have the space to react to them jumping and just get a block, which means that you don't have to keep this distance to the ball that you keep here and then, and then just jump. Because here we're close enough, right? We're close enough to react to anything that the opponent does. There's also very minimal angle that the opponent can actually shoot on from here. And because the closer or the less the angle, the easier it is for us to cover, and the more space we have, the more time we have to ourselves, because there's only one angle for us to cover. There's not multiple in this instance, all right? So you really just want to be going, I would say, a little bit more to the side here, so you're more goal side like this, rather than leaving this gap here. It does make a difference sometimes. And just staying close to the ball, because like I said, if your opponent jumps, you will see it happening and you will be able to react and get a block. Because here, yeah, we just simply don't need to jump because of those reasons. That the hard part now is for you to apply that into your own game, right? It's that's the hard part, is understanding that that's an actual thing. You are close enough in this position. If you hear your opponent boosting, if you see them boosting, if you hear them jumping, you see them jumping, both of those things, you're going to have the time to react to it. If you do want to get a touch here, you have to get it to the corner wall to be bouncing off the corner rather than the side wall. And that's for obvious reasons. It's going to be bouncing more into the opponent's half or into the opponent's direction rather than the middle direction, which is going to be more dangerous. This is champ 1, chat. Fairly high champ 1. Missed the open net, but that's fine. There's a solid kickoff. Again, really overanalyzing here, but you want to be getting a touch more into the corner rather than to the side. Makes it a little bit harder to control this ball, a little bit less, fewer options, due to what you can do with this ball. I think this is fine, what you do, because it can catch players out if they are challenging in this position, which sometimes they do. So I don't mind this. You do want to think about potentially faking and going kind of up the wall and down. In positions like this, a very good play that you should start doing. I know it's very specific, but it does happen a lot. In positions like this, where the opponent's here and you are going into the corner with the ball's about to roll up the wall like that, it can be tempting for us to just boom it away just in case they challenge us like that. And it can also be tempting to try and just go up the wall with the ball, touch it down. But then sometimes that gives the option for the opponent to cut it right as we're touching it down. Sometimes we concede or get a really bad 50 from those positions. That's super common. The best play you can do in a position like this is you're just having to wait for the ball to go up the wall and roll back down. And what you do with that is you almost fake challenge the ball. Even though you're the guy who has the ball under possession and you're the guy that's closest to the ball, you want to fake challenge the ball. So you're kind of driving up and then down like that around the wall. And the ball is going to go up and down and you're going to meet the ball basically in this position. And that is how you control these balls in the corner and stop the opponent from challenging you. Because even if they challenge you, because you're going to turn your car like this in this direction, you're going to get a 50 most of the time in a position like this going off the ball. They're just probably going to hit the ball into you. And that tends to be a favorable 50. And you're also going to be covering every loss because you're already facing your net, okay? So fake challenging the ball in this position, kind of driving up and then down like that. The ball rolls up and down and you're going to have the possession because most of the time your opponent will see you turn towards the ball and then go. Obviously, we go up after, but they see you turn towards the ball like that and your opponent will have to fake challenge, okay? But that is how we control these balls in this position. Sorry, my PC just lagged for a second. But that is how we control balls in this position every time. Drive up the ball, turn to the left here, turn it around like that, and wait for the ball to roll down. And then we will see if our opponents challenged us, we react to the 50 from there on, or we'll see that they backed off. Which most of the time they will, because I see you might be getting a hard touch around like you actually did here. So the touch is fine still. Forces a really bad touch from the opponent. Not always going to happen. Really shouldn't happen. They had a ton of space in this one, but this is really tough. Honestly, it's tough to. Yeah, it just doesn't matter. Like because this is just a read that you're just gonna have to get used to, and there's nothing that can be said basically about this. It's just a rough circumstance. You could really argue that you want to be slightly closer because even if the ball bounces off the backboard, you could still reach it with a double jump probably from this position. And because if the ball bounces off the crossbar like it does, that means you're also closer in this position. So you could argue that's the only thing, but again, that'll come with time. The only thing you really have to have awareness of is that this is a possibility. And you almost want to say to yourself, if this ball does bounce off, this is what I do, and this is what I always did ranking up. if this ball bounces off this certain position, so in this instance, the crossbar, and it goes down, there is a chance that I literally just won't be able to reach it. I'm just not going to go for it. And there's going to be times where you say that to yourself, or you think that to yourself before it happens, and the ball bounced down and you could have actually reached it, but because you already told yourself you're not going to go, you miss out on a goal. But sometimes that's just the like, you know, the things you have to sacrifice almost for balls like that. But yeah, that's a rough one to read. It's hard to see where that's going. Maybe a bump here instead of going for the ball. Yeah, I can see that for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. The issue is that this ball looks like it's going to bounce off the backboard. So the player might think they want to stay here. A bump here is great though. So that's a really good point. Every time an opponent flips, especially at ranks like these, they will be very unaware that they're about to get bumps. They won't try and carry on boosting whilst they're in the air to avoid a potential bump. And they have to complete their flip. There's going to be a window of time where they can't really dodge you, and that's when you go for a bump. So yeah, it would definitely work here. If you get a demo, you might have the time to turn around the ball and get the open net before they spawn. So I like that idea. Really nice 50. Kickoff, sorry. Really nice kickoff. Yeah. So again, a very specific tip. But when we're landing, don't try and cut the direction you're gonna naturally go, because this is what happens. So we're gonna be going in, you know, let's go a little bit higher so we can see. Our car is naturally going in this direction, okay? Pretty much that direction. A little bit off, but that direction, okay? You want to for a tenth of a second, a fifth of a second, after you land, you want to keep your car going in that exact same direction, because if you try and turn it instantly in an opposite direction, in a different direction than the one it's already going on the landing, this is what always happens, all right? Because you've turned midair and you're just cutting all your momentum off. Your car has to react to that, and it's just going to stop the momentum. It's, you will not travel forward by doing that. Whenever you land, and this will help you guys just with general movement, you always want to drive in the direction that you're pretty much going straight away it doesn't have to be long, but for a split second after you land, and that will allow you to move clean around the pitch and stop plays like that or situations like that from happening. It's a good effort, that's fine. Okay. Again, very, very specific. But when the ball is extremely high on the wall, unless you can single jump the ball into this kind of curve, because that tends to bounce outwards and nicely off the ceiling. If you can do that, great, do it. But single jumping the ball from this position in an outwards direction isn't good. You just want to drive into the ball and try and tap it lightly without a jump. That's going to get better first touches with balls that are high on the wall that you're trying to take into the air, typically onto the ceiling. Because that will, obviously, we're just going to hit the ceiling. So this is just going to be another open net that we've conceded from a counter-attack when we have possession in the opponent's half. This is for now maybe the third or fourth goal of this. All right, on this kickoff, yeah, okay. Again, it's just the common thing in this video of kickoffs. We're just slightly wobbly on our landing. Like, it's so slight, but it does make the difference. If you can really correct that landing on the speed flip, just turning a little bit more to the direction you're flipping, you're gonna have a better landing. You're gonna have a better recovery. The flip, you're starting to have throughout this game, you're starting to have a theme of flipping slightly away from the ball on the kickoff. So because in this situation, we're pretty much, the speed flips are more side flips, not gonna lie. It's on that, like, yeah, it's on that side of the spectrum kind of thing towards the side flip, but it's still a speed flip. It's just, yeah, it's slightly too much to the side instead of diagonal. So that's a good point. You could definitely work on that a little bit. But I would say the more, pressing issue right now is the fact that they're not landing super clean. We're contacting this ball pretty much through the middle, okay? Middle of the ball, but we're using a diagonal dodge. So we need to offset the amount our car travels with a diagonal dodge to the pretty much to the amount that we're going to the left side of the ball before we've hit the ball, okay? I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I see it as. If we're dodging to the left to the right diagonally, we really want to be slightly more to the left side of this ball, more here. Whereas we contact this ball just slightly over here, and that small difference in where we're hitting the ball, where we're making contact, that's what's losing us a lot of these kickoffs, because it's making it so we only get one touch through the ball basically, because we're flipping away from the ball, we're brushing it. I always say you're just brushing the ball here, like that's what we're doing with that flip. Nice. And we should score here. Gotta go faster. So already here, you turn ball cam off and go through the demo, okay? Just turn ball cam off. It'll be so much easier to see where the opponent is and focus on them. And then we just, I know it's obvious, but we just have to go a little bit quicker for this. As soon as our opponent gets demos, we of course want to take time, but we're trying to get at least the first touch on the ball as soon as possible. It doesn't have to be directly on target. It doesn't have to be a really hard hit, just the first touch. And that makes things really easy. As long as you think of that, we've got the demo. We're just trying to get the first touch as fast as possible in 1v1. In most cases, especially in offense like that, that is going to help usually. Do we score here? No, we don't. Okay. It's a nice shot, by the way, for that fourth goal, though. The angle's good, the shot's good. The kickoff's solid here. Yeah, you just want to try and speed the ball up a little bit as soon as your opponent gives it away. When you know they're on zero boost like that, you just want to speed it up a little bit more than you did. But again, that's kind of obvious to you. And in positions like this, very specific, but when you get in touches like this, you want to be focusing on height rather than distance, okay? A lot of players try and focus on the power of their touch, the distance their touch is going to travel, and trying to get a hard hit in positions like this. Don't focus on that anymore. Focus on height, and that one change in like what you're thinking of doing with balls like that changes the outcome a lot, usually. So yeah, focus on height on touches like that when you're trying to get the ball to the corner. It will usually put the ball a little bit more out of reach to the opponents than just trying to hit the ball away from them kind of thing. Really nice flick. Your offense is super good when you actually have the ball under control. I like your flicks. You need to, get the ball on top of your car more. We keep seeing, at the start of this replay, not more towards this middle and end, but especially towards the start, we're not getting the ball on top of our car in certain positions when we actually could. Your flicks are good, so use them. Yeah, so the same thing, just landing, wobbly. It's the only thing you have to fix on your kickoffs, pretty much. Of course, there's going to be other things we pointed out, but that's the main thing you need to focus on from now on. Just simply, so whichever way you're flipping, we're flipping to the left. Arrow slightly more to the left, just for a tenth of a second longer, and that's going to fix your speed flip. And you're going to land way more cleanly, and you're going to see probably better results from it. It might take you a little bit to get used to it, but that's practice at the end of the day, right? Solid 50. Everyone that's watching that, 50, especially at lower rank, can learn from it. Don't always have to win a 50. We just have to cover our net, force the ball to a safe position. Love that. Nice. Avoid the demo by stopping, by breaking on the wall here. This is a perfect drive challenge from the opponent. Always to do it in this position, basically. At least, the circumstance got to be a little bit more careful and turn a bit quicker once you see the opponent driving the ball like we did there. But that was really good from us. That's fine. Yeah, and we should have a goal. Nice. Yeah, just an awkward touch-up. Nice. Don't have to focus on getting the ball on net from that position. I like it. That's good. Yeah, we really just have to focus on using the booster out. using the boost throughout, and just turning slightly more. It's just the same thing because I know we won the kickoff. I completely know that, but we've gotten to the ball slower. We've gotten to the ball. We're actually doing a delayed kickoff almost, which is actually why we won this one. But it's not our intention when we're doing a speed flip kickoff. So yeah, make sure we're boosting throughout the whole speed flip and landing like we've been talking about, and it's going to be more consistent results on your kickoffs. Really nice touch around in the corner. I like that. And we tie it up. Okay, let's kick off. Again, we're slow. I don't know why. Yeah, okay, so it's just the same thing. So we're just not using all of our boosts. You really want to be using this 12 pad as well. In fact, we can't be fully speed flipping because you'd be supersonic here, actually, before you'd use this 12 pad. I just want to see. I'm pretty sure you would be. Was it this kickoff? Yeah, I'm supersonic here. We're not speed flipping properly. Oh, neither mind. Because you'd be supersonic before you reach that pad, pretty much in every instance. Okay, I'm supersonic already. So you need to definitely fix your speed flips because you are doing it slightly. It's just not a full, not a completely full one. Let's go back to this game real quick. Just not a completely full one, okay? So I definitely, honestly, I know it's like a sellout, but I'd watch my video on it. I do think I have a good video on speed flips. I'd watch that if you've already seen it, but I'd watch it again and practice it with that because, yeah, we're not fully speed flipping. Not fully. Okay. Yeah, so this is one of those times where we're not aware of what is going on, the threats in the corner. So we always want to be getting goal side, or at least get close to the ball so we can go in case our opponent does in positions like this. We have to be aware, and you should check back with your camera just to be sure, but you can also hear it in your headset or wherever your audio is playing from. You'll also be able to hear the opponent where they're going, okay? You should hear, or you should see if you're checking back, the opponent is going to the mid-right boost. You should also just know that it's just the natural where they would go from this position towards the mid-right boost. You have to just know that there's an option or an opportunity, that they can rush this ball and go for a shot, okay? We have to be getting goal side, so, kind of going over to this angle, so we're at least covering something. You can either do that, you can hit this ball over to that side, because that's where the space is going to be, and your opponent is behind you. So if you tap this ball, even with a single jump, just go to the right side of the pitch, you'd have space. I know it's hard to control, but you can do that. Or you need to be closer to the ball, so you can actually just jump when you hear them jump, all right? Because here, we're just slightly too far away. We're also not covering that, and we've not really made a proactive play on the ball. We've been very passive in the corner there, and that's what we want to avoid off kickoffs, especially when the ball is bouncing off our walls, okay? Whenever the ball is bouncing off our walls like this, you want to be proactive. Balls having the potential to bounce off the wall, make a decision. Are we going to hit it to the space on the right side of the pitch? Are we going to get goal side? Are we going to get close to the ball? Here, we're waiting to see what happens. We can't wait in positions like that. All right, let's see what happens on this kickoff. See, sometimes we are speed flipping, because that is definitely a speed flip, even though maybe we do have the advantage of having an extra small pad in front of us, but I think that's a speed flip, and that's a way better flip. It's a way better landing than all the others you've done in this game. The reason we lose this kickoff is the other thing that we said in this replay is that you're just brushing the ball, okay? You're not going to one side of the ball far enough. You're making contact directly through the middle of the ball, and you're flipping with a diagonal flip, which means, again, like we said, you're only going to get one touch through the ball, and you're not flipping into the ball. You're flipping away from it almost, okay? Should be a goal, and it almost is. Not the end of the world. We just, we just missed. Was almost a really nice shot. Happens. Okay, should also be probably another goal. Tough here, but we have to get more around the ball, okay? And you know that. And I'm not going to speak about it too much, and that's just going to be game. Maybe not. Yeah, okay. The ending, we almost scored. We almost got a goal off the kickoff. The key things are we have to focus on, try and relearn the speed flip a little bit, mainly focusing on our landing. That's going to be the main issue you have and probably will have. Focusing on using our boost throughout, and the rest of the kickoff will usually just improve from there on naturally. If you're still having trouble, most of the time you have a tendency to, like we've said, on your kickoffs, go towards the center of the ball too much and still use the diagonal flip. If you're going to go towards the center, you want to be single jumping into the ball almost. That'll get you a better kickoff in this position, okay? Because we diagonal flip, we're flipping away from the ball. We're not flipping into the ball, and that's a common tendency you have throughout this game at least. So those are the things you want to work on your kickoff. In your offense isn't bad. You're overcommitting too much. If you didn't overcommit as much, you would have just simply won this game. Your offense isn't as bad as you think, honestly. We just are, because you have good shots, like you said. When you get the ball on top of your car, you've got good, you have good flicks, okay? We just have to get the ball on top of our car a little bit more. So in an instance like at the start of the game, if we go back here, right here, you have an opportunity to get the ball on top of your car. We just slightly miss our catch, okay? So if we can get the ball on top of our car a little bit more in our 1v1 situations, that's what I want you to lean more towards. Of course, keep going for your shots. Keep going for, the shots that you like to hit and you say you're good at, because you are. But I do want you to lean a little bit more into the flicks, honestly, and practicing those, because you have good flicks naturally, okay? So use them a little bit more. Be a little bit more proactive in offense with getting something on target, okay? Because right now, it's not going to make sense, but you're very floaty, like, and I'll say what that means. Like, it of course means, like, in the air. I mean, for one of these goals, like here, we're not going directly on net. We're trying to do a lot, we're trying to do a lot with the ball here, and staying in the air for too long. That's being quite floaty. You're just floating in the air. But you're also you're just not attacking the net on the ground. You're not making something happen to go on target, okay? And that's what we want a little bit more. We want something to just go on target to force out a save, because in positions like this one, we have to do that, okay? Making your opponent save something is just going to be better, right? So put something on target, even if it's the worst shot in the world, as long as it's below the crossbar, as long as it's not making you concede from overcommitting, you're going to have more success in your offense from that already. But the rest of your offense isn't as bad as you think, okay? The defense and the counterattack is really where we struggle. And that's obviously coming from overcommitting offense, being a little less risky, and mainly in defense, we're a little bad in the corners, all right? We've already spoken about it throughout this video, but if we go to the last goal, or the last couple goals really, the main thing is not understanding the threats. You have to just get a little bit more goal side towards the ball. You have to also understand if you are close enough to the ball, you're quite far away here. If you're close enough, and in this position, close enough would mean probably getting onto the wall from this position, you are just going to force your opponent away from the ball. If they go for the ball in this position, whilst you're up here close to the ball, you're simply going to hit around them. Okay, you're just going to be able to react to them. So I want you to get a little bit closer to the ball in your corners, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go for it. All right, that's what I want you to focus on in the corners. Get closer to the ball and staying close, but not just flipping into the ball, trying to give away possession, trying to get the ball out of defense. And that tip alone should help you a ton with your corners, because the main thing you're struggling with is simply being too far away and you think you're close enough, but you're not, okay? So take that extra step and get a little closer. Guys, in the comments, if you have any questions about this guy or what we've kind of discussed in this video, be sure to leave them, of course. Help each other out, be nice to each other. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Hope it helped.